The Job Creators Network is criticizing YouTube, saying they unfairly censored its video depicting the recent riots. Joining us to talk more about the censored video and why the inappropriate content warning does what it does to their outreach is Elaine Parker. She is the Chief Communications Officer of Jobs Creator Network. Hey, Elaine, how you doing?
I'm good, Paul. Thanks for having me.
Well, let's just, before we get started, explain the Job Creators Network. What do you do specifically?
Sure. We're a national small business advocacy organization. We're founded by a man named Bernie Marcus. If you're not familiar with Bernie Marcus, he's actually the co-founder of the Home Depot. And He founded us to represent the 30 million small business owners across the country in advocating for lower taxes and less regulations and pro-growth policies.
So you created a video, the Job Creators Network did, depicting the riots going on in various cities, saying these riots are hurting small businesses. And YouTube reacted to that, or put a warning label, an inappropriate content label on your video. Have you talked to them about why they did that?
We have. We launched a national Get Out the Vote campaign called KeepAmericaAmerica.com. And as part of that campaign, the video was meant to represent these protests and violent rioting that's been going on across the country, that the mainstream media continues to portray the narrative that these are peaceful protests. And so we basically went on YouTube and pulled readily available footage that was with local news stations across the country in every city, and put it into about a 30-second spot. And at the end, we asked, is your city next? That was it. So it's we didn't create this footage. It was out on YouTube. And within days, they slapped us with an inappropriate content restriction. And, you know, if you think about it, all of these platforms are America's town square at this point. And when they're censoring just one point of view, and usually what we find out is it's the conservative point of view, it's a threat to free speech.
I think everyone knows that these riots are harmful to small businesses. So was the video necessary in your opinion? Obviously it was, in your opinion, right?
Absolutely. I mean, this narrative that these are peaceful protests going on, we've got small business owners across the country who are in these cities and were calling us and talking to us, and we were hearing from them that these are not peaceful protests, and they were concerned for not only their personal safety, but their small businesses, their families, their economic security. You know, these are violent riots that are happening, and we've got tech giants out there that are shielding the real story from getting out there. And when we've got these platforms that are censoring conservative viewpoints through algorithms, they're de facto making unreported contributions that really threatens the democracy. You know, they're making contributions by de facto to candidates and campaigns if they're censoring one side's point of view.
Elaine, when I was growing up and the record store said, oh, you can't, they would cover up the album cover of my favorite band and said this was inappropriate for kids your age, it only made me want to buy the album and hear it more. Could YouTube actually be working in your favor in that by putting this tag on it, it makes people more curious as to seeing your message?
I mean, we think so. The problem with the inappropriate content restriction label is it prevents us from promoting the video and getting more views on it. So we're actually not able to spend our money on YouTube and buy ads and get more views. So it really does censor the message because users have to actually log in, and then they have to sign in and accept that they want to see the content in spite of the label.
So what's going to happen here? Sometimes if you squawk loud enough, they back off such warning labels. Is YouTube showing any perhaps tendency to go in that direction?
No, but 2 days ago, the Department of Justice asked the Congress to investigate and take a look at the immunity that our tech giants are granted in the law, because you know, they're not responsible for anything that's posted on their website. And while the Congress is going to look at their immunity and possibly stripping them of that immunity, it's really up to the tech giants, I think, to decide if they want to be a platform where they treat all political content the same and they don't censor one side or the other, Or do they want to be a publisher where they're publishing content? And if so, then they need to be regulated as such. We'd rather have Congress look into this censorship because it really does threaten our democracy.
Well, as you mentioned, it always seems to go one way, right? I mean, can you name any left or liberal causes that have been censored?
I have never seen to this day a hearing, an article, anything on anyone on the liberal side who says that their voice has been censored, that they've been blocked on Twitter, nothing. And it's ridiculous at this point because it's clearly a one-sided view. And by censoring conservative viewpoints, they're clearly taking a side.